I'm introducing my novel, Child of the Hive, by reading some extracts. In this extract, Will, Ben and Alex are trying to avoid a pursuer through the London Underground. They got off the train at the next station and headed for the Bakerloo line. They could swap onto the Jubilee at the next stop, and by then no one would be able to associate them with the man who'd fired a gun on the platform at Westminster. Those passengers heading for the escalators had had phones and port comps out, ready to call the police the instant they had a signal. Will wiped his face on his sleeve, knowing that he couldn't afford to go to pieces now. If he was going to live until tomorrow, he'd have to stick with his original plan. He hoped the trick with the port comp would still work. The Beaks would know who Alex was by now, and would be able to track the signal as soon as the computer was above ground again. If the woman were transferring onto another line, then, when she emerged, the Beaks would think that he'd been travelling around to evade them. But Drew knew that trick. Will tried to dismiss the knowledge of precisely who it was who was chasing him. All it meant was that he definitely couldn't risk them catching up to him. He was on the Beaks' enemies list now, that was all there was to it. He felt Alex and Ben looking at him. They wanted answers. They deserved answers. All he could do was wish that they were anywhere else, but be immensely glad that they were standing beside him. He hadn't wanted them to get involved in this whole mess. He just wanted them to win. He'd wanted Ben to get his university sponsorship. He'd wanted Alex to get to go to the space station. It was supposed to be his final gift, his thank you for all they'd done for him, even when they knew he would never tell them about his past. Now they might find out about him the hard way. They might find out about the Beaks and the Hive the way he had, with blood. "You shouldn't be involved in this," he said. "You should go back. You won't be hurt. Drew will see to that. If you head to King's Cross and walk through the station separately, they'll see you and assume I'm there too. You'll be found and go back to your old lives, and it might give me long enough to get away." "You want us to be a decoy?" Alex sounded furious. He didn't blame her. In her shoes, he wouldn't have put up with even half of what she had. "You'll throw us to the wolves while you save your own skin." "Drew won't hurt you." "Who's Drew? That guy at the station? He shot at you." Will winced as though he'd been slapped. The thought hurt. It hurt more than anything else about this situation. Drew had never been one to shoot unless he had no choice. Yet he'd raised a gun to Will without even trying to talk to him first, without trying to capture him. The Beaks wanted him dead, and they'd made Drew their weapon. Will frantically wondered how he could explain who Drew was, that he was the sort of person who would risk his life, at the age of 11, for a friend and his bratty brother. For so many years, Drew had been a friend and protector, and as much of a brother as Scott.